Welcome to computer science class once again. Our topic today is the computer hardware. In the class, we are going to know what's the definition of computer hardware and the components of a computer hardware. The components of a computer hardware. Those are the basic things we'll be talking about. Those computer hardware components, we'll be looking at them one after the other. I know in our previous lesson we talked about some hardwares. In this class we'll be looking at it in full. What is computer hardware? In defining computer hardware, you would say that computer hardware refers to the physical parts or components of a computer, such as your monitor, keyboard, your hard drive, your mouse, the printers, graphic cards, sound cards, memory cards, motherboards, and chips, etc., all of which are physical objects that you can touch. So anything that you can touch that belongs to the computer or that is a component of the computer can be regarded as a computer hardware. Computer hardware remains dormant unless it is being given an instruction. It's just a mere metal, a mere iron. It's one of the most important things that you must know. Under the components of the computer hardware, you have the motherboard, you have the processor, you have the memory, you have the hard disk drive, the video card, the sound card, the keyboard, the mouse, the printer. For the course of this class, we'll be touching few of them, not all, we'll be touching few of them. So let's take the very first one, the motherboard. What is the motherboard? The motherboard is the heart of a PC. Some manufacturers normally use this term system board. They call it planner board, they call it base board, or they call it main board. All these are names of the motherboard. It's where it houses all the computer peripherals. It's known as where all the chips or the ports in which they are being connected to. It receives all connection. Components of a motherboard, you have the processor slot, the memory banks, the AGP slot. AGP means accelerated graphic ports. The PCI also means peripheral component, interconnect, IDE, integrated development environment, and the USB port. All this is what makes up the motherboard. Just like your mom, they are in charge of everything that goes on in the computer. Next, you talk about the processor. The processor is likened to be the CPU. Processor is also called a microprocessor. It's also called the CPU. It is also called the brain of the PC. It performs all general computing tasks in the computer. Now, there are two basic types of speed that should be considered when evaluating. You have the internal clock speed and the external clock speed. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that in processing information, there's what we call the input and there's what we call the output section. When you get to SS2, we'll be talking a bit more about the CPU. But for now, know that it is in two forms. Also, talk about the memory. Also, in SS2, we'll talk about memory. When you hear memory, what comes to our minds is storage. When you hear the word memory, what comes to our mind is storage. And what is it? It's likened to be a RAM. It's our working memory storage. All data which the computer uses and works with during operations are stored here. Anything that is being worked upon in the computer is being saved in the memory. There are different kinds of memory. You have the primary memory and you have the secondary memory. Under the primary memory, you have the RAM and the ROM. Where the primary is temporary, the ROM is permanent. Other secondary, they are also called the auxiliary memory. All of these help in making instructions to be saved in a secured manner. All of these will enable that the memory, take note of something, memory is measured in bytes. So you would often encounter the terms like megabytes, gigabytes, terabytes, as the case may be. It is something that you do not want to skimp on. It means that you so much enjoy it. You can choose a slower processor with the RAM, it depends on you. Also, we have the hard disk drive. The hard disk drive consists of one or more magnetic disks contained in a box. They are used as a storage media in the PC where you store program and other digital data. The hard disk is the permanent storage area of a computer. It stores information whether the computer is on or the computer is off. The hard disk drive is a mass storage drive that is found in the PC. It saves data permanently. Data on the hard disk can be erased and it can be overwritten. The hard drive is classed as a non-volatile. When they say non-volatile, I mean it cannot be easily removed. You have to delete it purposely. Another is the printer. The printer is also regarded as a component of a computer because it is an hardware device. Now, under printer have different types of printers. We have the LaserJet, we have the DeskJet, we have the thermal printers. Thermal printers are the ones they use in POSs and the ones they use in banks. Those are thermal printers. One used majorly in offices. We have the LaserJet printers that is majorly used in the offices. All other kinds of printers we'll discuss when we are talking proper on printers. We have other kinds of hardwares also. We have the modem also called demodulator and modulator. Other components, we have the SSD, which is a memory card. We have the power switch. We have earpod. We have our power cable. We have our CD-ROM. We have our keyboard. We have our monitor. All of these are computer hardware devices. They are devices that you can touch, you can feel, and they are part of the components. On the screen right now are the major components of the computer, whereby without it, these are the first thing that comes to play from the outward. When you see your mouse, you must have a keyboard, CPU, the motherboard, and the RAM. All of these are very important during the case of storing information. Thank you for watching. Have a blessed day. See you in the next class.